And welcome. I'm Josephine Corcoran, holistic career coach and astrologer, and this is my Astrology for Business, Purposeful Living and Careers weekly podcast, or not podcast, my weekly Facebook Live feed, which I stream into various other areas. And this week brings opportunities for us to continue to envisage what we'd like to make happen in 2021. But simultaneously, this week's very emotionally charged because we're smack bang in the middle of the eclipse season, which I'll talk a little bit about this morning. But before I go any further, if you're time poor and you're interested in finding out what's happening with the moon this week and an insight into what the placement of the planets looks like this week and how you can work that energy to help you plan for the week ahead and to inspire you to consider what sorts of activities are going to be best suited for you to work on this week so that you're really supported to get the best out of where you spend your time. You can just sign up in the link on the button next to this, I think it's above this video, and that will take you to a sign up where you'll be able to then receive a weekly PDF document with all of the juicy information and the key dates, because it's a lot to write down if you want to work with the energy and the lunations. So hi to those of you who have joined. I'm doing this on my laptop today, so I'm not as aware of who's joined me. But well, I had an amazing weekend with the sun in Leo with my favourite girls that were up from Melbourne, and we had such a glorious time connecting, catching up, eating lovely food, chatting, having a few relaxing drinks and staying in a beautiful hotel in Sydney. So I'm feeling very blessed and completely inspired because they are all doing such amazing, amazing things in the world. And there's nothing like connecting with those people who are on the same wavelength as you, who you are inspired by, and equally they become your champions. So I feel so blessed. Thank you, girls, for an amazing, amazing weekend. All right, so this week, as I've said in my snapshot, we're in the final quarter of the lunar phase. So the moon is waning this week, which basically means the moon is getting smaller this week. We're going to have the last quarter phase happening on Tuesday. And whenever we have a last quarter phase in a lunar cycle, it actually brings us an opportunity to make adjustments to any goals or any projects that we released into the world roughly around the full moon time, because the full moon's all about releasing. And then soon after the full moon, it's about disseminating the information and sharing what it is that you've done. But by the time you started sharing and talking with people and maybe got some feedback, the final quarter phase is really powerful time for looking at, all right, well, what changes or adjustments do I need to make now that I've put my project, or now that I've put my creative creativity out into the world, or that made that deal, or I've made an announcement. Now that I've done that and I've shared that and I've got feedback, what needs to change? So this week is all about making adjustments and making changes and just tweaking things. But what will happen is by the end of the week, we're going to be moving into the dark moon phase just before we move into the new lunar cycle. And whenever we have the dark moon phase, it is about letting go and really being still and trying to find some time to go within. Now, I know that is almost impossible for most of you at this point of time of the year. It's almost Christmas and there's time now to be getting out and socializing with friends, and we haven't been able to do that all year. So even if you just make some moments of time over the weekend, more so on Sunday and on Monday, just to, even if it's to sit and to write down your thoughts about what it is you want to be bringing in over the next lunar cycle and even beyond that, and just make some time to commit to yourself under the final dark phase of the moon at the end of the week. But what where we're up to is the sun is still traveling through Sagittarius, so there's lots of optimism available, lots of inspiration. It's a really positive energy, Sagittarius, fueling us to go out there and to seek new experiences and to learn more things and to share our wisdom. And hopefully you're getting some access to that in your career at the moment and in your personal life, and you're using that to really consider what 2021 looks like. The challenge that we have is that's a really inspiring and uplifting energy, and that's actually being matched by Mercury, which is now in Sagittarius. And that means that our mind is also in tune with that desire to think big picture and to think expansively. But what we have is the challenge of the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse, and we're smack bang between the lunar eclipse, which is happening, and the solar eclipse, which will be happening next week. And whenever we're in eclipse season, it does somewhat, it can bring up information, make information available to us that we otherwise were not privy to. So we can find ourselves making adjustments as unexpected things happen for us. But things can also be a little bit unclear, and it can be emotionally charged. So you may be experiencing this duality at the moment where on the one hand you're really excited about what's possible, but on the other hand you're emotionally charged. And just remembering that with the eclipses, because they're connected to the nodes, the north and the south node, there is a fatedness to them. There is a sense of connecting in with our purpose, but also releasing and letting go. And the letting go component is going to be particularly strong under the solar eclipse, which is coming up. And I'll talk more about that on Monday of next week. I just wanted to give you the heads up and give you permission to be okay with the fact if you're feeling a bit emotionally charged this week, but not to let that block your path forward. To honour that that's going on, and to honour that potentially you're letting go of some old things that it's time to let go of, and that there's now opportunity to be starting to think about what's possible and what's next. All right, so this week we've also got Mars, which rules our energy, continuing to be at speed, making its way through Aries. It's going to be next week making some more challenging aspects, but at least our energy is strong. And also Venus continues the journey through Scorpio. So in terms of relationships, there is a desire to kind of dig down and get to the bottom of things and be truth-seeking. Quite intense, that Venusian energy at the moment around. I really want to dig down deep. I don't want to do surface level at the moment. It's more of an intense desire to understand people on a deeper level. So use that in your business and use that in your career, and understand that some people are just feeling a little bit more intense than normal at the moment. Well, what is normal? Because this year certainly has shown us that there is really no such thing as normal, and we're all going to be adjusting to how we operate in this new energy of 2021 and beyond. So that is continuing. All right, so in terms of the void of course days for this week, there are a couple of days this week where the moon's not going to be making an aspect to any other planets. And so void of course, for those of you who are perhaps tuning into me for the first time, when the moon is void of course, it's not making a connection or an aspect to any other planets. And because the moon receives energy, it's a receiving kind of element. It's about going within. If it's not connecting in with any other planets, then it's really being long considered appropriate to be still, to try to do not terribly much. Now, obviously that's not possible that within our working week, but what we can do to manage that is make sure we're not working on any projects where we're launching, or we're starting something new, or we're trying to motivate others to come on board with what we're doing. Much better to spend the time that the moon is void of course, just getting on with advancing projects that are already started, or getting organised, or decluttering, or clearing things out. So those 2 days where the moon's void of course during business hours are Wednesday the 9th from 9:35 a.m. till 11:01. So you might like to mark that in your calendar. And if you've got any key meetings where you're trying to sell something or close something, I would really encourage you to try and move the meeting to start either before or after that time. And then also on Friday, the 11th of November, the moon's void of course, not for terribly long. It's around lunchtime from 11:56 a.m. till 12:58 p.m. So make sure you're not signing any contracts or key deals at that time either. So the rest of the week, the moon is void of course outside business hours. And it's not void of course at all on Tuesday, at all on Thursday. It's not void of course for the rest of today, being Monday. And Saturday it's not void of course, and then Sunday it is void of course for an hour or so. So it's pretty good this week in terms of being able to just go full steam ahead without worrying about, is the project that I'm about to start going to be launched at the wrong time here. So yeah, make sure you've got those times in your diary. Okay, so just to finish off today, I'm going to take you through on a daily basis what the moon's doing each day and what that's good for doing in terms of business activities. And today the moon is in Virgo. It's in Virgo all day. It moved in there this morning at 6:46 a.m. So the moon in Virgo always brings an opportunity to focus on getting organised, putting structures in place, and also it's great for tending to your health. So with Virgo, it's always good to just revise what your daily schedule and your daily routine looks like, because it's inviting you to create efficiencies so you can be really good at getting your results. So that's available for you to work with for the rest of today, being Monday, all day tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday morning up until 11:01 a.m. And then the moon on Wednesday moves into Libra at 11:01 a.m. And so when the moon is in Libra, it always brings an opportunity to focus on relationships, to focus on win-win situations, and also to focus on partners that can be as a client, it can be as a colleague, it can be with any people that you're engaging with in your week. It's also really good opportunity. It's great energy for exploring ideas and concepts with other people. So if you like bouncing ideas around with others to kind of brainstorm ways to go about solving problems or to get solutions for your clients, it's going to be really powerful for that. And it's also really lovely energy to work with to get your aesthetics going for your business. So whether it's social media or any kind of other graphics or anything you're doing for design, whether you're an interior designer or whether you work with design, it's always lovely using the moon in Libra for those kinds of concept ideas and putting them out there. So that's available Wednesday from 11 a.m, Thursday all day, and then Friday until 12:58 p.m. And then Friday afternoon, the moon's going to be moving into Scorpio, where, of course, it's a much different energy. With the moon in Scorpio, it's much more about, it's a water sign, it's quite emotional, it likes to get to the bottom of things, but it is really great for money management and looking at any kind of joint assets or joint finances. So for those of you in the banking world, or for those of you that are running your own business, looking at business partnerships and the money relationship that's going on there is really, that's great for that. So that's from 12:58 p.m. on Friday, all day Saturday, and then Sunday afternoon, the moon's going to be moving into Sagittarius, joining the sun and joining Mercury. So again, really strong, optimistic vibe. One thing to note is that when the moon is in Libra, it is going to be making a square aspect to the COVID planets, and that might be a little bit tense as you're making these final adjustments to the way you want to be relating and working and partnering with others. But we've been working with this all year every time the moon's moved into Libra. And I would imagine that this week the moon in Libra is actually bringing us an opportunity to start to really bed down the way we want to be relating with other people. So use that energy, particularly on Thursday and Friday. There's so many extraordinary partnerships that I'm seeing starting to be formed under this back end of the year. I have actually become a part of the TCA network, and the amazing Scarlett Vespa, who helps me out with quite a bit of She's been helping me out with my podcast and with a lot of my work behind the scenes. I'm so grateful for everything that Scarlett and her team do for me. And she has started this amazing platform for coaches. And she is really inspired to support those of you out there that work on your own as an entrepreneur, offering services to other people, because frankly, as coaches, as people that are out there helping support people be amazing at what they do, we also need to recognize the value in investing in ourselves and having people that we can go to as a sounding board to ensure that we're bringing the best version of ourselves to the table for our clients. So on that note, really consider who can be supporting you to be your greatest self. And I also, just to mention, I'm still doing year ahead readings for those of you who are interested in understanding what's energetically available for you in 2021. And yeah, I'm really excited about where we're going, even though we're still in the midst of eclipse season. So wishing you an amazing week ahead. If what I'm describing and talking about interests you and you'd like to know more about how to work with astrology from a business perspective to support you moving forward, then get in touch. All right, that's me for the week. Have an amazing week. I'll be back in touch next week. Lots of love. Bye-bye.